Hey there, Bryce here with a quick message before we hop into today's podcast. We love pulling this podcast together for you, and we love that we can make it available each day for free. What we would love even more, though, is for as many kids as possible to be getting their daily dose of our sugar-coated broccoli. And that's where you can help. If you're listening on Apple and have a moment, we'd love it if you left a review and spread the love. It helps us grow, which is crucial if we're going to continue to do what we do. Thanks for your loyal support, and now it's time for the pod.
Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, May 13. In Squiz Kids Today, Space Storm's magical light show, donkey beauty contest in Morocco, snakes that fake their own death, and Switzerland wins Eurovision. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
If you live in the southern part of Australia and had clear weather and happened to look up into the night sky over the weekend, you might have been treated to one of nature's most spectacular light shows. It's called the Aurora Australis and only happens very rarely. So thousands of Aussies from Tassie to Victoria and across to Western Australia who saw it over the weekend knew they were witnessing something special. But it's what causes this light show that is the most amazing. It's essentially the result of a massive electromagnetic disturbance to Earth's atmosphere, caused by massive flare-ups on the sun. If you think of the sun as a massive ball of fiery energy constantly kicking out radiation in the form of light and heat, every now and then there's a flare-up, an eruption if you like, which is so massive it makes the force field around the Earth, otherwise known as the magnetosphere, go a little bit wobbly. And that's what creates this otherworldly light show at night. The colours are just amazing, pinks and reds and greens and blues, in a beautiful night sky symphony. Because this planet we live on, people, is just amazing. I've stuck a link to some glorious photos in today's episode notes. Are you ready to get your money pants on? Well, just as well, as tomorrow the Treasurer Jim Chalmers will be handing down the federal budget, which is a plan for how the government intends to spend the country's money in the years ahead. Luckily, we did a Squiz Kids Q&A with the Treasurer last week, where you, the kids of Australia, got to ask the questions. I've stuck a link to it in today's episode notes to make sure you're all budget ready for tomorrow. You're welcome.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Morocco, in northern Africa, where a donkey beauty pageant has just taken place. The villagers of Beni Amen Zehoun stage what they call Festibaz every year to celebrate the humble donkey and how much it does for their lives. Because in lots of countries they rely on animals like donkeys as either a form of transport or to help farm or to help carry heavy loads. Poor donkeys, what a life. Part of the festival is a beauty contest, where the donkeys get dressed in flowers, sequined coats, and even sunglasses. Because their lives apparently aren't hard enough. Oh, the indignity. I've stuck a link to video of the celebration in today's episode notes. Enjoy.
Animal Kingdom.
And so to the animal kingdom we go, where some snakes are earning a reputation for being really, really good at faking their own deaths. Now, why, I hear you ask, would a snake want to fake its own death? Why? To trick predators, of course. Take, for example, the dice snake from Eastern Europe and Western Asia, which has been observed by scientists flipping onto its back, rubbing itself in its own poo, and even bleeding from its own mouth in an attempt to trick a predator into believing that it's already dead. I mean, really, Smearing yourself with your own poo? There's stuff I'd probably do to escape a predator, but I reckon that's probably where I'd draw the line. And yes, I've stuck a link to photos of the fake snake deaths in today's episode notes. But don't worry, you can't see any poo. Phew.
Pop Culture Corner.
Another year, another celebration of silliness at the Eurovision Song Competition, which drew to a close in Sweden yesterday. And the winner is Switzerland, whose singer Nemo performed on a spinning top to take out the world's wackiest music prize. I've stuck a link to a video of his performance in today's episode notes. Every year, pop singers and bands from countries all over Europe, and Australia oddly enough, take part in the song competition, which has been going for decades and was won in 1974 by a little Swedish band called ABBA. And while Nemo was the crowd and jury favourite at this year's competition, my favourite was definitely Croatia. Because their name is Baby Lasagna, their costumes were made of what appeared to be their grandma's doilies, and they sang a song called Rim Tim Tuggy Dim. And that pretty much says everything you need to know about Eurovision. Hello, parents and teachers. We love making Squiz Kids for you and your kids every day, but we need your help to make it even better. If you've got a couple of minutes to spare, we'd love it if you could fill out the Squiz Kids survey. We've got big plans for the pod, but we need your input to make sure we're heading in the right direction. You'll find a link to the survey in today's episode notes, or hop into it via our website, squizkids.com.au. A couple of minutes of your time would be hugely appreciated. Thanks in advance.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. In which country has a donkey beauty pageant just taken place? Well done if you said Morocco. Question number 2. Name the light show that occurred in the night sky over Australia this weekend. Oh yeah, congratulations if you said Aurora Australis. Question number 3. Which country won this year's Eurovision Song Contest? Yeah, of course, it was Switzerland.
Shout-outs.
It's May 13. On this day, 237 years ago, a bloke called Captain Arthur Phillip set sail from Portsmouth in England with the First Fleet on an 8-month journey bound for Australia. Today is also a special day for the following Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Alea and Charlie from Yass, Zephyr from Jerilderie, Shanvi from Forest Lake, Ina from DY, Will from Unanderra, Vidash from Point Cook, James from Middle Harbour, Alessio from Mortlake, Jaden, who's listening all the way over there in Incheon in South Korea, Anik, who's listening all the way over there in Toronto in Canada, and Masha, who's listening all the way over there in Abu Dhabi. And belated birthday shout-outs go to James from Concord and Claire from Brisbane. And classroom shout-outs today go to Class 6B with Mrs. Chapman at Geebung State School, Class Middle 4 with Mrs. Cameron and Mrs. James at St. Teresa's Primary School in Kennington, Class 4B with Mr. Darnman at Yachuka Primary School, Year 6 with Mr. Bartlett at Tailem Bend Primary School, Stage 2-3 with Mrs. Kennis at Aspect Riverina Wagga Campus, Grade 4 with Mrs. Sen and Mrs. Maley at Flinders Park Primary School, and Class 5-8 with Mrs. Hoy at Flinders Christian Community College in Carrum Downs. And finally, a very special shout out to a trio of cheeky listeners and my new friends, the brothers and sister team of Leo, Annabelle and Jack from Springwood. Say g'day to your mum and dad for me. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a special Squiz Kids shortcut on YouTube, because who doesn't love to watch YouTube? In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.